Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Today, I'm going to give a short presentation about the master level degree in electronic engineering. Here we have a short summary of this presentation. So I think we can start from the very beginning. I present myself. I am Maurizio Martina. I'm associate professor at the VLSI lab in the Electronics and Telecommunication Department of Politecnico di Torino, and I'm the reference program faculty for the Master of Science degree in Electronic Engineering. But let's try to make some focus on our degree. First of all, what we can say about electronics. I think that it's rather evident to everybody that electronics has a lot of applications in different fields ranging from chip design to system design to modeling of devices to the design of systems, boards, and even to specific applications like power electronics application, industrial applications, space applications, automotive applications, and you can imagine a lot of other applications. As electronics, it's really a very widespread element in everyday life and a lot of products. Another interesting that I would like to highlight is that we had more than 200 new students in the previous academic year. And just to give you some statistics about the population, we have about 50% students coming from the bachelor level at Polito, about 30% is from other Italian universities, and about 20% is from abroad. The degree in electronics engineering belongs to a group of degrees which is referred to as collegio. In particular is the ETF collegio, so collegio related to electronics, telecommunication, and physics degree. So this is an important information, as you will see later on, because collegio of electronics, telecommunication, and physics, together with the other collegio from the ICT field, which is ICM1, are organizing so-called ICT days in the week from 8th to the 12th of June, related to discussion with students about our degree. So I think this can be a relevant information. However, we will discuss this a little bit better later on. Of course, if you have questions, you have the chat and you can post your questions, and I will do my best to answer to your questions, of course. So, but let's try to focus a little bit more on the degree. The degree is structured as shown in this slide. So we have at the first year some mandatory fundamental courses with the purpose of realignment of base knowledge. And we have 8 different careers, and a student can choose the one that he or she prefers, depending on the attitude of the student. At the first year, we have this realignment of basic knowledge courses related to the topics shown in this picture. So digital electronics, electronic devices, analog electronics. Then we have electromagnetic fields and electronic measurements. And we have also some choices in the field of mathematics, signal processing, or programming. The courses, the one at the first year, are almost all given in both Italian and English version, with some small differences in the content. They are not exactly one equal to the other. Some are very similar. If you look at an example to Sistemi Digitali Integrati and Digital Electronics, which are digital courses, one in Italian, the other in English, they look rather similar. On the contrary, if you look at optoelectronica and high-speed electron devices, they look a bit different, as optoelectronica is very more focused on optoelectronics devices and is the one given in Italian, whereas high-speed electron devices is given in English. You can understand if a course is given in Italian or in English by looking at our website on the course catalog and you have to check the flag next to the name of the course, not if the title of the course is in Italian or in English. This is not relevant. The important thing is the flag. If you see flag of Italy, it means that the course is given in Italian. Otherwise, if you see the Great Britain flag, it means that the course is given in English. Okay, so let's have now a look at the program of the second year. In the second year, you can see that the 8 different careers start becoming really different one from the other. We have embedded system, electronic systems, and we have microelectronics. We have a career in design of power and electronics. So we have electronics for industrial application, radio frequency system design, electronic, micro, and nano systems, and devices and technologies for integrated electronics and optoelectronics. One thing that's rather important is that despite we have 8 different careers, the title that you obtain in the story is the same for everybody. So that's just Master of Science in Electronic Engineering. So you do not have to worry too much about which career you choose. One important thing is, in my opinion, is that the embedded systems career is one of the careers which is given completely and natively in English. All the other careers can be adapted to be fully in English, but maybe they are not completely in English. However, if you are interested in another career like, who knows, microelectronics as an example, and you have no courses given in English for that career, you can just write me an email and we can find a good blend of courses such that you can attend the career with courses all given in English, which I think is an important aspect. Another interesting aspect related to our Master of Science degree is double degree programs. We have several double degree programs, and we have also a lot of opportunities for our students for making experience abroad, both in research center, universities, and in companies. You can make experience abroad mainly in 3 ways. You have double degree programs, which are usually rather strict due to the fact that you have to comply with the rules of both Politecnico and the other hosting institute. We have Erasmus programs, which are, from this point of view, easier because the number of rules that you have to comply with is lower. And finally, we have the possibility of making just the thesis abroad. So a lot of opportunities, in my opinion, for our students, and you can choose the one you prefer, of course. What we can say about the engineer, the electronic engineer that we are trying to build as a result of the degree. So the professional figures we are trying to build are figures that can be employed in the research, design, and development of cutting-edge technologies, and to develop advanced components and methodologies for innovative solutions and able to keep under control cost-performance trade-offs. So I know that this sounds like a bit a Wikipedia definition. However, just trying to clarify some points that, in my opinion, are rather important about a electronic engineer figure. Here you also can see the main jobs that you can imagine to find after getting the degree in electronic engineering, which can be summarized in designer at circuit level or architecture level, either on analog or digital or mixed signal or radio frequency circuit. Analyst, of course, you can work as a freelance if you prefer. You can have also opportunities as lab director or as a researcher. You can get access to PhD if you want, or even to other research works, maybe not so close to the academic one, like research centers, both private and public ones, or maybe in companies in R&D departments. Which are at least in my opinion, the strengths of our master degree program. First of all, we have common background and the fact that we have just one final degree, which is electronic engineering, despite we have 8 different careers. So the positive aspect, in my opinion, of the 8 different careers is that every student can try to deepen specific aspects depending on particular interest of any of our students. Just to give you kind of statistic information, about the 70% of the courses in our master degree are given in English. So I think that it's rather easy at the end of the story to accommodate any student and build a career all in English, despite maybe the original career was not full in English, as I said before. Another strong aspect, at least in my opinion, of our degree is related to lab activity and project activities. So we have a lot of experimental activities during all the degree. In the past, we had a lot of activities made in person inside labs, but we also had, even before the COVID emergency, a lot of activities that can be developed with a remote connection. In particular, all the activities related to design of electronic circuit and systems, relying on CAD instruments like designing integrated circuits, either analog or digital, or maybe radio frequency circuits, or even modeling of devices. All this kind of experimental sessions can be done remotely. So you can download on a PC a simple client application, and you can connect to one of our servers inside Polito. On the servers, you already have installed all the CAD and all the tools that are needed for making the experiments and for developing and designing your application. And so you can work remotely. And one thing that, in my opinion, is rather interesting and can be very helpful of this approach is that servers are in general available 7 days, 24 hours. So usually the hours related to lab activities are more hours to make some discussion and to evaluate solutions with students, rather than actually hours where you can work on the project. You can develop the project almost whenever you want, since servers are almost always accessible. And this is rather interesting and useful, in my opinion. Be aware that we are currently discussing, and I hope that by the end of June, you will have more precise information about activity in person that might be possible. I'm not sure at the moment if they will be available or not, but it might be possible. But be sure that even if in-person activity will be available, they will not be mandatory. So who will be able to attend these activities, okay, I would be really glad about that. But if you're not able to attend in-person activities, you have not to worry, because it's not creating you any problem, either from the point of view of learning or the point of view of the examination days. Okay? And so we can conclude our short introduction. I want to remind you that we will have ICT days from the 8th to the 12th of June for discussing with students topics related to our master level degrees in all the ICT areas, so both ETF and the ICM colleges. So if you're in that, you have here all the details. You have the QR code and the link for joining the chat and to receive information about ICT days. And I think that this is almost all. So thank you for your attention. If you want to have a look at the course catalog, you can go to our website and politecnico.it. Under the Master of Science levels, you get information about the electronic engineering degree, so you have full description of all the courses. So go back to the previous slides so that if any of you is interested in the ICT Day, he or she can get all the information, maybe scan the QR code or whatever. I see that we have some questions in the chat, so I will do my best to answer your questions. Right, so labs held in personal. Okay, I think I have answered that question. Not completely, and for sure not mandatorily. So you might, we are not sure currently if something will be in person. For sure, we will have a lot of opportunities in remote. Will there be group lab work or group project work in remote education? This is possible and it's rather probable. I know that working group remotely maybe it's not that easy as working in person, but I think that this is a challenging opportunity for our students to try to make working group, even if you cannot meet in person. Yeah. Any update? Oh gosh. Any update on when the in-person classes should be resumed? Not yet. The only sure thing I can tell you is that for sure classes, I mean theoretical ones, will be given remotely, not in person. We are discussing about the possibility of providing something in concerning exercises and lab experiences. However, this is not yet defined. For sure, what I can tell you is that almost everybody in Politecnico, and in particular in the Master of Science level degree in electronic engineering, agrees that we have to be sure that our students will receive the correct education and that they have no penalties during the exam due to remote teaching. That's for sure. I see another question. What does Polito think about in-person classes? Well, I think that almost everybody in Polito thinks that if possible, it would be very very positive and very helpful to have in-person classes. However, this is not possible, at least for the theoretical part of the courses. Maybe we will have something in person about exercises and lab activities, because one thing that we believe is that having interaction with students, even remotely, can be very helpful to help students understanding better all the concepts that we explained during course. How many courses during the entire master degree do you have lab projects? Oh, well, I would say almost all courses. Yeah, maybe not exactly lab projects, maybe experiences, but a lot of courses also have projects. Yeah. When can we expect answers about in-person classes? For exercises and lab activity, I hope that you will have something by the end of June, even before if possible, of course. But I think that end of June is a reasonable deadline for having something clear. At the moment, fees and pre-enrollments stand at top of priorities. Do you have any news? Haha. Well, that's a very difficult question for me because it's related to administrative aspects. So I think that the best way to find a real answer to that question is to ask the mobility office, who is in charge of taking care of incoming and outgoing students on all stuffs related to visa and pre-enrollment. So I'm sorry I'm not able to provide you with a good answer about this question, but I gave you a pointer about someone who might help you. It's been announced that next academic year will be remote. Yes, that's true. Is there a chance that this decision will change in the middle of the year? I would say no, frankly. All the academic year will be given remotely. What could change is the number of opportunities. So let's say the amount of opportunities for students to make something in person during the year. So maybe during the first semester, in-person opportunity will be very reduced, and on the contrary, it's likely, at least in my opinion, that during the second semester we will have something more. But I think that the previous discussion still holds true. So we will do all the possible to avoid making remote students in bad conditions, both from the point of view of learning and getting information, and also from the point of view of the examination. How many times we can take exam for each course? 4 times. So you have 2 possibilities at the end of the course. So let's consider 1 academic year. The academic year usually starts at the beginning of October, and with the first semester, of course, and the first semester ends at about mid of January. So from mid-January to end of January, you have exams about the second semester of the previous academic year. Then in February, you have 2 exams for each of the courses that you attended during the first semester. Then starting from March, we have the second semester, which ends about mid of June. So from mid of June to you have 1 exam of the courses which were given during the first semester. Then in July, you have 2 exams for all the courses given in the second semester. And finally, in September, you have 1 exam for each course, independently of the fact that the course was given in the first or second semester. So the scheme is 2, 1, 1. 2 after the end of the semester, 1 at the end of the other semester, and 1 in September. Would you please name a book for computer architecture? Yes, of course. Patterson and Hennessy, Computer Architecture, A Quantitative Approach. For sure, best book in the world on the topic. If you want, there is also the second version by the same authors, Patterson and Hennessy, the Agro Software Interface, Computer Architecture, the Agro Software Interface. For sure, the best 2 books around the world. In-person classes will probably resume after July. Yes. In-person classes might resume after July 2021. So my personal opinion is that the 2021 and 2022 will be given again in the in-person mode. But this is just my opinion. So I hope that everything is going smooth. So with the next academic year, given remotely, we will be able to set up everything so that after 1 year, we will be able to start again with in-person mode. It's possible to download video lessons. Yes, once you are enrolled as a student in Politecnico di Torino, you can get access to the video lessons of your courses. Yes. Two possibilities. We have rather long tradition of recording courses even before COVID emergency, so you can find registrations that have been made maybe 1, 2, 3 years ago. And in this academic year, well, both the one which is finishing, but also the new one which will start in October, all the teachers must record classes. So as a student enrolled in a course, you can get access to the classes actually given by the teacher, which are recorded with our digital classroom system. Yes. You can see them either in streaming or download them as you prefer. How will the internship take place during the remote education? That's a very, very important question. I do not have a precise answer right now. However, I'm in contact with several companies and they are telling me that it's likely that from September they will be able to host students. So I think that it's likely that from September internships will be available. However, this is just my opinion and it's just something that I have in my mind because I had some discussion with people in some companies. So I'm not sure that this will be the final decision from Polito side. Any other question? Thank you. Me too. Okay. Thank you. Stay safe. You too. If you have any other question, remember that when this presentation is over, so in about 2 minutes, we still have some time and space, virtual space, for answering to questions, student questions. So you can connect to the link. You can find it on the Open Days webpage at Polito. And so if you have other questions, we can discuss them. Be aware that even if after 1 week you have questions that you didn't ask so far, we still have the ICT days from 8 to 12 of June. And so you will have this second opportunity to get in touch with us and to make other questions if needed. Okay, so thank you so much for participating and for your patience and availability, and stay safe. Thank you.